This episode of the MSP podcast is brought to you by Big Tex Outdoors. Everything you could possibly need for your firearm. If he doesn't have it, you probably don't need it. And PHLster holsters. Can't do a sub 5-second fast drill? Well, get a PHLster holster. If you still can't, well, at least you know it's not the holster's fault. And primary and secondary, the definitive source for the armed professional and the responsible citizen. Quit your bitching about all the rules and get better. Hey guys, welcome back to the MSP podcast, nicknamed the Get Better podcast, nicknamed the Self-Reliant podcast. Why do I call it that instead of like, the 2A 3% Get Your Freedom On Yo podcast, right? Because guys, it's more than just about guns. It's about martial arts. It's about nutrition. And it's also about medical. And that's a perfect segue into having my very good friend and roommate for a week or so, Carrie Davis from Dark Angel Medical. Per my norm, man, I don't like to do introductions because I always fuck those things up. Said, man, Carrie, tell us a little bit about yourself and why the hell you're on my show.
Well, other than being Little Spoon for a week with Scott at Shooter Symposium, I'm always Little Spoon. Now I started out as a medic in the Air Force, and then took a special duty assignment up to Pope, Fort Bragg, as a flight medic, and then worked as an officer training school instructor in Alabama. And during that time, I was working as a field paramedic. And it was during that time that I said, you know what, I'm tired of getting shot at and hit at and shit at and shot everything else for.
And he said shit at.
for like $9 an hour. And so I went ahead and went to nursing school while I was in the reserves, and got my nursing degree. So my background is critical care and ER nursing since 2003. Worked with Magpul Dynamics for a couple of years. After that time, I transitioned over to Sig Sauer. But there's a little segue or a little interim there where I started Dark Angel Medical. And I've been at Sig for this is going on year 8. I'm a part-time instructor up there as well. So that's kind of where everything's taken me. That's my CV or my background or whatever, my pedigree.
It's awesome since you are well known in the industry of how like reputations grow, right? And it's like, well, he was Air Force and he got shot at. He's a PJ.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like, dude, if you talk to people about me, it's like, oh no, bro, he's like a 3rd-degree black belt in Jiu-Jitsu. I'm like, not even close.
Yeah.
Man, how people run with. So awesome, man. So Dark Angel Medical, right? So let's start talking about that, right? So I always say, the self-reliant lifestyle is, man, you are more likely to have to patch someone up than get into a gunfight or get into a street fight using, an arm bar or something like that, right?
100%.
And you were one of the few that actually pretty much makes a living at this. Why don't you think more people take medical classes as opposed to shooting classes?
Because they're not cool. They're not sexy.
Right.
I mean, everybody wants to get out there in a class, and they'll pay $600 for a 2-day class plus another $400 in ammo and everything else. And, and they'll get out there and put their 30 rounds of freedom in their freedom dispenser and get their freedom on.
Yep.
And that's cool, but medical, as a rule, is not sexy. But like I always tell people, and one of my things is, neither's bleeding out.
Yeah.
And it's you can't pack a wound with all those magazines you bought, and you definitely can't stop a bleed with ignorance.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. And like you and I had talked about at the Shooter Symposium, yeah, a lot of medical training, it's absolute dog shit. And I'm not gonna lie, because people who are, I did my TCCC instructor course, dude, that's great. I'm glad. But unless you have been doing this for like your entire life, I've been doing this for 27 years, over half of my life.
Yeah.
I've been doing this. This is my passion. This is what I do. If people, I think what it is, a lot of people get these classes that are, they're honestly, the instructors are not qualified, number one, to teach it, but because they're just regurgitating info. But number two, the teachers, the instructors, because there's a big difference between a teacher and an instructor.
Yeah.
And these instructors are in it for the wrong reasons. They're in it just to do another Me Too class, or they're not passionate about it. They're not in it. They're in it to make a buck. And there's a lot of misinformation out there. It's like I see some firearms guys trying to sell medical kits now, and I'm like, and they got like all kinds of bad stuff in there, and I'm like, dude, what's your background?
Right.
Seriously, stay in
Yeah.
your freaking lane. Like this one
Right.
jackwagon sitting there putting out a medical kit with a tampon in it. Really?
Oh, I saw that.
I
And
mean,
I immediately thought of you, man.
yeah, dude, I lost my freaking mind when I saw that. But the thing is about medical training, people don't get it.
Right.
They don't get it until they get it. And then when they get it, it's too late, because it's like, oh, well, I'll get medical training eventually. I'll get medical training eventually. I don't have $180 to spend on this med kit because I just spent $3,500 tricking out my AR. You
Right.
know, and
Right.
and and like you said, the likelihood of them ever using that AR. I mean, wow, hey, dude, Den of Thieves, Heat, those are all great movies.
Right.
John Wick, but life ain't John Wick. Life ain't Hollywood, and life happens every day. And we're
Yeah.
on a commute back and forth to home and work every day. Way more likely to see a car accident, and you're going to have to utilize those medical skills in that medical kit. And not that's just one. Two, you can take a med kit anywhere.
This is true.
You
This is
know,
true,
so
man. This is true. If you
you
do it
know,
right, you can take a med kit on a plane.
Yeah, absolutely, dude.
Yeah.
I carry my ankle kit on a plane every freaking time, and that's honestly it pisses me off because it's like I've pled with people, I've begged people over the last 8 years, oh please get medical training, get medical training, get medical training, get a med kit, and I'm almost to the point now where I'm like, fuck it, if you're that stupid, bleed out. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
seriously, if you don't see the importance in getting a good medical kit and getting solid training, then we need to thin the fucking gene pool. Because
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and you can edit that if you want to,
Oh, hell's no. That's staying
but
in there because it's
but it,
right,
but
man.
it's but if you don't carry a med kit, a good med kit, a solid med kit, a proven med kit, and you don't get the training to utilize that med kit, dude, you're part of the problem.
Yeah.
You're literally part of
Well,
the problem.
it's kind of like what's an example I've used? Like when you're up on a line, let's clarify, it's America. You can do any damn thing that you want to do, right?
Absolutely.
But when you walk up to the line of one of my classes and you got your, vein laden blue Cryptek Cerakote slide with all the serrations and windows and the tin gold barrel and the stippling that could take the chrome off of a bumper and, this huge magwell, blah, blah, blah. And you can't zero your gun at 10 yards to a 1 inch square.
Right.
Maybe, again, you could do whatever the hell you want to do, but I'm gonna say it doesn't measure up, right? Just
Yeah,
for the same
absolutely.
reason, like, bro, you don't know how to put on a tourniquet, you don't know. I mean, that's the basic thing. It ain't
Yeah.
that hard.
It ain't that hard.
It
And
ain't that hard.
you've been through the class, Bev's
Yep.
been through the class, and it ain't that hard. And that's what I think a lot of people, that's probably another thing that freaks people out. One, well, it ain't fun. And two, dude, they're gonna be talking over my head and using all these $20 words and all this kind
Yeah.
of
Well,
crap.
well, so here's the thing. I think people think of like, and maybe they don't think it's on top of their head, but they get that feeling because everyone's taken that 4 to 6 hour CPR class.
Oh,
The first, right? And it's like, yeah, and it's like,
yeah,
2 days of this?
yeah,
Oh, I
yeah,
don't know if I can do
yeah,
that,
yeah,
man. Maybe I'll just shoot the guy and then I won't have to fix him or
yeah,
something, right?
yeah,
But it's
yeah.
not like that. And I'm gonna and
No.
I'm gonna talk to you because I'm gonna do a couple of questions so people know the difference, right? So,
Right.
and I will tell you, in the back of my mind, man, it was kind of like that. For example, I took a 1 day Greg Ellifritz, the collapse medicine class.
Oh
That was
yeah,
cool. That
yeah.
was cool, man. I mean, I
Greg
learned a
does a
lot of.
good. He does a good job
Yeah, I
for
mean,
sure.
because he's crazy and he goes to third world countries all by himself and
Yeah,
shit, right?
yeah.
My buddy Jim Dexter, right? He does
Hmm.
his class and stuff like that. Very
Another good
good,
dude.
entertaining and stuff. But let's talk about yours and your engagement, right? Here's a couple things I'll take away from your class, right? There are standards in there. There's pressure in there.
Yeah.
You are one of the funniest individuals that I've ever met. right? That juxtaposed to when you get serious, it's awesome, right? You have shot timers, you have scenarios in there. I got to tell you, man, there was never a time in that class where I was just like, oh God, can we just move on from this, man? Uh, and it would do that 2 days flew by. It flew
Good.
by. So let's talk about a couple of things, man.
All right.
You were very humorous in your class, right? As am I, so I appreciate that. Why are you? Is that just your nature, or is that on purpose?
No, it is my nature. I've always used humor. Honestly, I was really insecure when I was a teenager because, man, I was not a good looking kid. But so I had to use humor
I
as a
find that hard to believe because you're such a sexy man right now. So.
yeah, I had to use humor as a way to distance myself, as a facade, as a defense mechanism. But I use humor now. I use humor in class because I'm like, look, man, if people are listening to the next goofy ass thing I say,
Yeah.
they might listen to something I say that is gonna be relevant to the subject matter. And if you're laughing and you're waiting for that next thing, then you're listening, then you're engaged. And as an adult educator, I've been teaching adults since 1992. I've learned that if you use humor, it disarms people, and they're kind of like, okay, this isn't so bad. This Because if they're laughing, they're like, shit, I'm actually having a good time in this class.
Yeah, man, because
And
it's serious. It is serious goddamn business,
oh yeah,
right?
absolutely it is. But
And if you're serious all the time, it almost gets to overload,
oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Because you go to the video, and I guess I'm not stealing or I'm not letting anything out because they're all on the internet, right? But the two videos of the one guy who's who got his legs blown off and he's trying to loosen his tourniquet because it hurts too much,
Yep.
and then the other dude, what was the I'm going to use an inappropriate term. The skinny that got popped with a 308 at
Oh
point
yeah,
blank distance,
yeah,
and then he
yeah,
falls. Those are serious videos,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And if you haven't seen those videos before, or if you're not used to those videos before, man, that can kind of take you to a dark place some people haven't been before.
Absolutely. It's a hell of a thing to watch somebody bleeding out and somebody dying, I
Yeah,
mean, it's a hell of a thing. And like you said, this is a very serious subject matter. But if I can use humor as a way to kind of buffer that,
yeah,
that's one. And two, people are listening because, like I said, if they're laughing, they're listening. If they're listening, they're learning, and they
yeah,
learn without even realizing. And after the class, they're like, "Holy shit, I actually learned some stuff." And
right.
it wasn't painful because, man, I've been through those classes just like you have. And
Yeah,
I remember I've gone through these classes and I'm like, oh my God, bless their heart, because you know I'm from
yeah, dude.
Mississippi, dude. We say bless your heart for everything, but I
Yeah,
was like, man, I don't ever want to teach like that because I know how painful it is to go. And also it gives students the buy-in because I'm excited about this shit. I
yeah,
love
man.
I love this stuff, and I want people to see how passionate I am because I think honestly that's contagious. It really is. If people see you're excited about it, they know you're vested in it, and they know that you believe in what you're actually talking about. Because I've had instructors up there who they don't give a shit either way. They're just
Hmm.
there regurgitating curriculum, and they're not invested. So how's that going to get me as a student excited? And that's what I want. I want my students to be excited because if they're excited and they're engaged and they're passionate about it, they're going to learn. And
Yeah,
that learning is going to cause a cognitive change, and it's going to change their perceptions and the way they actually go about their daily lives after the class. They're going to be like, holy shit, I can't believe I have not had this class ever.
yeah, yeah.
And why is
And
it taking me this long to do this class?
And let's talk a little bit about the sexy thing, man. I'm going to throw a story in there, and whether or not it really is appropriate for the subject matter, who gives a shit? It's my podcast. So through college, right until I turned 21, my dad retired out of Nellis, out of
Mhm.
in Vegas, right? Uh, and I was a busboy at a place called Sam's Town, and a restaurant there called Diamond Lil's, right? And they used to have this champagne, prime rib, and lobster special, man. And people would just throw that down and be awesome, man. One dude just took a big ass bite of lobster and some champagne, and it got stuck. I mean, it got stuck. We were doing the Heimlich, me and two other waiters were doing the Heimlich on that guy for like 7 minutes, rotating in and out. And when the paramedics got there, they're like, yeah, dude, every time you guys did it, the lobster went up a little bit. air came in, but because it was all champagne-y in there, it came back down. So if you guys would have stopped, he would have been done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that doesn't have to do with anything that you teach. But here's the thing, man. You were talking about sexy and creating the magic that a lot of firearms training does, man. Thank God I have never had the need to use my firearm to protect myself or my family. But in that instance, man, whether or not we saved that dude's life, which the paramedic said that we did, you want to talk about a high, save somebody's life.
Yeah, 100%.
Save somebody's life, man. And if you think you were prepared because you took your CPR class and learned about immobilization and pressing rhythms on, blah, 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 blah. Bro, if you don't know how to do a tourniquet, if you don't know about pressure dressing, if you don't know how to stop the bleed and things of that nature, you've got no idea. And if you're only in it for the glory, man, saving a life is unreal.
Dude, it is.
Yeah. And me, I just help the dude breathe a little bit, man. I can't imagine what you've done, what other people have done in service of this country, and service to their community as far as policemen go. So, about the sexy and the magic, man, dude, if you want to do good, learn how to save a life too. Right?
That's 100%, man. That's what I tell people all the time, dude. Hurting somebody or breaking somebody is easy. It's the whole fixing them and patching them up. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, I mean, even no matter how many times I've done it, no matter how many times I've done something like this, anytime if I get into a code situation, or when I was, when I was a field paramedic, it didn't matter how many times I'd done it, man, it's always, like you said, it's always that high. Even one of my instructors about 6-7 months ago saved a lady's life down in Colorado Springs, and after he called me, I'm dude's a seasoned medic. He's AFSOC medic, and dude called me. He's like, you could hear the adrenaline in his voice. He's still vibrating, way up here. And it's one of those things. It's a high. And people always ask me all the time, how many people's lives you saved? I'm like, dude, I have no idea. I don't keep track of those, but I remember the ones I didn't.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell people. That's the reason we want to make ourselves better. Because even with all the training that I've done over the last 27 years, it's still something that sticks in the back of your head. Should I have done this? Could I have done this? You always second guess yourself. I mean, if you're type A or you're like that, you're your own worst critic.
Yep.
And it's like, dude, you got to understand. Sometimes people are just going to die, and that's one of the things I try to get through in the medical class too. Is like, I would rather have that knowledge and have done everything I can within my scope, within my area of training, to know that I tried to help that person out as much as possible. And if they succumb to their injuries, then that's just God's will. That's the way it is. Versus never having had the training and sitting there going, oh shit, what do I do? Hey, does anybody have a med kit? I've got a med kit. Do you know how to use this thing? Because I've never had the training. Because like I always tell people, yeah, our classes are 16 hours. Regret lasts forever. And that, I mean, and
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Man. Yeah.
And then people are like, dude, that's heavy. And I'm like, no shit, it's heavy. I said, that's real life. It ain't Call of Duty, man. It ain't Battlefield. There ain't no respawn. When you're done,
man.
you're done. And if you don't know how to do something, even if you do how to do something, at least you got that quiet confidence knowing that you did all you could do. And you're not sitting there the rest of your life regretting not ever taking a medical class and learning how to use this stuff and how to treat somebody versus, and having that regret versus having done it.
Yep.
Nobody's ever said that.
No. So let's talk about, getting heart rates up, getting the pressure on there, man. And everybody knows me, man. Even though I get labeled as a competitive shooter, I guess I am because I compete. I also eat spaghetti. Am I a spaghettier? I don't know what the fuck that is. Anyway, moving on, right? Bro, you brought out a shot timer in class.
Heck yeah.
Right? And my eyes just went, oh, this is going to be a good time, right? Because if I'm not competing, sometimes I just don't really give a shit, right? And you busted that thing out, man, and it was like, let's do this. Got it. You suck. I win.
Yeah.
I can't feel my arm. Hold on. What brought that on, man?
Real life. I mean, you guys, what I tell people, it's like, well, why do you put a part-time on putting a tourniquet on? I said, dude, your life's on a part-time.
You ain't lying.
It's like I ask people, how long do you have to fix yourself if you're bleeding? And they're like, hey, I get answers all over the place. And I'm like, rest of your life. You literally have the rest of your
Rest of
life.
your life. Yep.
And then how long is that going to be measured? And so I started, and from watching some videos and talking to some folks, people can have when they lose a large amount of blood, they can have such a precipitous drop in their blood pressure
Yeah.
that it goes out of the old brain housing group Mark 1 Mod 0,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, boom, they're unconscious. And like I tell people, the best time to get yourself treated is before you go unconscious. And that's where I brought in the shot timer. And I use it on the range in our live fire classes and everything. I'm like, look, man, just because you're hit, you're still in the fight, but you have a finite time that you can operate. God, I hate that word, but you have a finite time that you can actually be engaged and still present some lethality without rendering aid. But then you have to render your aid to yourself to continue to be able to fight.
Here's a question for you as far as drilling stuff, right? Getting all that myelinated in so that it's in the subconscious, yada, yada.
Yeah.
Have you ever, for example, everyone's seen like an MMA fight where dude gets knocked out. He is completely without conscious thought or whatever, and he's still fighting. He's throwing the guy in the guard. He's trying to get half guard. He's defending, and it's completely myelinated into the subconscious. Does the same thing happen while rendering aid to yourself, right? Because like say you lose that blood pressure to that point, because you show that in your class, right? This level of blood loss, this level of blood loss, here's what happens, here's what happens, here's what happens. Can you get that myelinated, like putting on a target so myelinated into where you are doing it subconsciously, even without conscious thought, because of blood loss?
And that's a really good question, man. I'd have to think there's so many physiological factors there, and yeah, you can become that subconsciously skilled because you build those neural pathways. I'm just wondering, I'm sure you could probably go through the motion if you've done it enough. I remember one time I dislocated my kneecap on a rifle range, and I thought I'd gotten shot. So immediately I went down, but safed my gun, dropped it on the deck, and grabbed my tourniquet out in my hand before I even realized what was happening.
Right, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So I mean, I actually had that tourniquet out in my hand, looking for a hole, looking for smoke or blood or whatever.
Yeah.
And and I looked at my hands like, holy shit, man, I got my rifle's on safe. So that was a good thing.
Yeah.
That shows I'd practiced that enough. But it's one of those things. I think I just from my own personal experience, I believe you could. But then again, it depends on how much oxygen you have left. So if your brain is completely out, how much more time do you have left before the movements become they're purposeful at the beginning, but when they start becoming uncoordinated or whatever, but yeah, I think it could probably happen. I don't know how effective you would be. That's just it, because you see those guys still in the guard or whatever and trying to fight those dudes. How effective are they? At that point,
right.
They're still going through the motion, but is it an effective motion?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, putting on a tourniquet is such a compound action that because there's that level of cognizant action,
absolutely,
right, and uncognizant action. I think I just made that shit up, but you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's not that difficult. Like, have you ever walked onto a scene where a dude who got shot and I was like, hey, you got a tourniquet on you, and how'd that happen? And he was like, I don't know.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
okay, so maybe that happened.
I mean, it could, and I think it could, like you said, it could be that subconsciously skilled thing that it just happens.
Yeah.
So I think there is some merit to that, because like I said, I was totally surprised that I had actually safed my gun.
Yeah.
And put it on the deck and grabbed my tourniquet out of my kit without even giving it a second thought.
Would you mind sharing what your par time is?
Yeah, it's 20 seconds.
20 seconds, guys. So put down the goddamn B8s, shooting 10 rounds in 20 seconds, right? Because Kyle DeFore don't care no more. And pick up your tourniquet and dry fire. Get a practice tourniquet and dry fire it, man. Put on that tourniquet on your arm, 20 seconds or less.
Yeah, that's from deployment. From deployment to the time you are pulseless and have that tourniquet secured. And pulseless means, you got to be able to check your pulse, because if you still have a pulse below the side of the tourniquet, it's not on right. You know,
Hell
so
yeah, dude. I think I'm
I
gonna
mean,
do a
you're
little
still,
contest on that, man.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
do a little contest on that, dude.
absolutely. And
That's
that's
awesome,
that's
dude.
yeah. Just something. It's just something to put in your toolbox, and what it does, it gives you that. It puts that stress on people because I'm like, in class I could say, okay, let's put a tourniquet on. But if you tell people, okay, here's your timer, 20 seconds. In 20 seconds, you're going to be unconscious because that shit happens.
Yeah.
Okay, you got 20 seconds to get this tourniquet on. And I even in our live fire class, I even ramp it up a little bit. That I simulate a drill in one of my scenarios. Your support hand goes down,
Yeah.
and you have to still finish up the threat with one hand, find cover, move to cover, holster up, get the tourniquet out, get it on in 20 seconds. From the time you get hit, it's from the time that support hand goes down, you've got 20 seconds to
Oh shit.
finish the
Okay.
threat, move to cover, and get the tourniquet on. So that adds even a smaller window right there. But people are surprised. The first time they do it, it's like two monkeys fornicating a football. But the next few times they do it, I like to do drills 4 or 5 times, because the first drill we just call a mulligan on that. And
Well, you don't know where your shit show is.
exactly. And I tell them always do that first drill like half speed. Half speed. Don't rush through it because you want to build a good solid
Right.
foundation. There's so many parallels between medical and shooting. You know what I mean? And I was like, do that drill, and then as they work through it, they're like, holy shit, I actually did that in like 15 seconds.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ah, bro, the body works the way the body works, right?
absolutely.
It doesn't matter if you're trying to shoot it or fix it or lift weights. The body works the way the body works, man.
Absolutely.
And you've got to get that stuff ingrained into the subconscious, right? Because I'm sure everybody gets in there and they start fucking around. They miss the tourniquet and they miss their arm and yeah
Yeah.
and you
And
know.
then they're just like spinning around in circles. Going, I don't know what to do. And
Exactly. It's like, I don't know why I can't get my draw below 3 seconds. It's like, 'cause, dude, for like 2.5 seconds, you did everything but draw your gun. That's why, bro.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's it, man. I try to induce that stress on people because I'm like, look, man, if you can't get this thing, if you can't function in this setting, how are you going to function in a setting whenever something really happens?
Mm-hmm.
You've
Mm-hmm.
got to practice this stuff, and that's just it. You've got to, like I tell people all the time, yeah, you may dry fire your gun, but if you don't dry fire your tourniquet, you're wrong. You got to dry
Yeah.
fire. You got to dry fire your med kit. That's the reason we get all the practice stuff out there. And just one caveat or one little FYI: if folks do have a tourniquet in their kit and everything like that, get a separate and distinct practice tourniquet, because what you don't want to do is use your real world tourniquet to practice with.
Right, because it stretches out, loses its rigidity, or
Yep.
gains elasticity, and that's no
Yeah.
bueno for a tourniquet, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. So you do that. So the other part of the class, right, is you also do like in the indoor class. We'll get into the shooting med class in just a second, but the other part of the class is you actually do a scenario,
Hmm.
right, in the class. Why do you do that? I mean, you've already put us on a shot timer. You've already introduced us to proper, stop the bleed procedure. Blah blah. Why a scenario, man?
Better scenario gets the only person putting pressure on you at that point is you. And the
Hmm.
scenario actually, from my experience, just like doing when I was when I was a paramedic and everything, doing scenarios in class helps get your mind prepped and get your mind in motion for whenever something could happen in real life. And so the first time you do it is not on scene. The first
Hmm.
time you do it is not whenever the bad stuff happens. And it gives you the ability to go, okay, well, I screwed that up, so I need to work on this. And the practice scenarios that we do in class, I think it shows people honestly how simple it is to take care of what you can take care of, and it gives them information that they can take with them, and it's not anything they have to be in a classroom setting to do. That's why I tell people, hey, you can visualize this while you're laying in bed. If you're trying to count sheep, do a patient assessment. If you're at home with your kid, hey, lay down on the floor, I'm gonna do a patient assessment on you right now. And what it does, it gives them the foundation to keep doing that and keep practicing with it, because as you know, the more we practice correctly, the better we're going to get, and we're not building those training scars, because you can build training scars with medical stuff just as much as you can with shooting stuff. And so
Yeah.
that's the reason we get those scenarios in the class now, is because it gives people one more skill set, one more tool in their toolbox, and it's something that they can constantly practice. Nothing we teach in that class can't be practiced outside that class. That's the reason
Oh,
we offer.
absolutely.
That's the
Yeah.
reason we offer training modules. You know, we have the wound cubes for wound packing, training pressure bandages, chest seals, tourniquets. You know, and even that's the reason we say, hey, this is how you do an assessment. So that's the reason we do all that, is to give people that. That's something tangible. That's a takeaway from class. People are like, oh, I got a certificate. No, man, that's the stuff you can actually take away. Just like when you learn a new skill in a shooting class, or in a martial arts class, or a knife fighting class, just like that. That's crap you can take with you after the class and continue to get better.
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%. I
Is
would
that
tell you that other than the skills, obviously the skills and the time pressure that I learned of applying those things, you know, one of the things I learned in that scenario was so the subject there, I forget what it was, they got hit by a car or some shit like that, right? And they were on, and you had to take them and put them on their side, check for any other wounds, yada yada. You know, what I learned is everybody knows who knows me. I got bad knees, right? All the pickup basketball in college did not do me well. You know, if I was in a shooting class, you know, I'd be, you know, I throw on the Arc'teryx knee pads and shit like that, and I'm generally okay, right? But on that, it was in a classroom with a hard tile floor, yada yada, and I put my knee down. I was like, oh, this is not good. This is not good. So I squatted the whole time, right? It's funny enough with my knee, squatting is fine, but the whole scenario lasted what, 2-3 minutes?
Yeah, tops.
Maybe,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Y'all wanna do an air squat for 3 minutes while applying a tourniquet and all that other stuff, right? So that's what I learned about myself, right? Because I'm not kneeling, right? Especially like if it was a
Right.
car accident, there's glass, there's rocks, it's on asphalt or blacktop. I'm not kneeling on that shit, especially with my knees, right? So it's time to get to squatting and start holding air squats, you know, for a minute or two. So that was something I learned about myself. And until you put yourself in that scenario and under some what of time pressure, you're not going to learn those things because you're not going to think of them.
That's right. And then you bring up a really good point. I tell people too, think of the physical condition you're in. Think of the physical condition you're in. Do you stretch? Do you do yoga? Do you do cardiovascular training? Do you do weight training? Are you in physical shape to actually take care of somebody? Because what if, man, I've been in some contorted ass positions in vehicles and automobiles trying to extricate people. And if you don't have a decent degree of physical fitness, you may become a patient yourself.
Right.
You know, so you don't know, like you just said, you don't know what situation you're going to find yourself in. So that brings another thing up, is maintain an adequate level of physical fitness. And that's something that we honestly, we don't really, a lot of people don't stress as much as they should.
Yeah. Can you pull 120 pounds of dead weight
Exactly.
out of a
Like
car?
the
Right?
first time when I put Baraka up on my back,
Oh, damn.
he was like, this is his words exactly. You a strong little motherfucker. Because he said, I didn't know how. He said, I didn't realize you were that strong, brother. I was like, no, man. I said, it's not that I'm that strong. It's one, I'm motivated, but but two, you've got to maintain. If you're going to move somebody away from danger, you got to be able to do it without hurting yourself or them, if possible.
Yeah, and if you can't do it, man, and you do wind up doing, you wind up like with a severe hernia afterwards.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
man, that's just exacerbating the problem.
Yeah.
All right, so that was that class, man. And again, you know, everybody sees me on, you know, the social media is going fast, being as active as I can, but mainly going fast and stuff like that. So when I tell you I had a good time at his 2-day class, you'll have a good time too. You'll have a good time too.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah, let's go into the shooting class, which I have not taken,
Mm-hmm.
which looks amazing. Can you give us kind of an overview of that and how it differs from like the regular 2-day indoor medical class?
Sure. The first 2 days, literally the same. But what we do on the second day, or the third day, pardon me, on third day, we get out on the range. In the morning, we do pistol. In the afternoon, we do carbine. And these classes are for people who are vetted, and this is literally a no shit intermediate to advanced level skill set class. You have to be able to manipulate pistols and carbines with your non-dominant hand, do immediate action drills. So it needs to be like a 103, 104 level class. You got to be a self-starter. It's not this is not a time to diagnose what's going on. I'm not diagnosing your shooting skills. You need to be well past all that stuff. So people who come to these classes typically are more advanced level shooters. But we'll get in there. I'll just do some warm ups, things like that, just to make sure, see what people, how people are shooting from the holster, things like that. And then we get into movement. And then from movement, I get into single hand manipulation and malfunction clearances and such as that. And then I start throwing in the tourniquets, because people can be really good shooters.
Yeah.
And really proficient in that stuff. And man, you throw one more facet in there, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, they got like 10 thumbs, and and then all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, I had no idea. And then we start doing single drills, then we do buddy drills, and on the buddy drills, their buddy goes down, they have to finish up the threat, they have to drag them to cover, but when they're behind cover, the buddies can be self-applying and all a tourniquet or whatever, then they pass out. So then their partner has to communicate with them, has to continually scan for threats, has to finish up the tourniquet, has to finish up a full assessment on the patient and let me know what's going on with them. And every patient every patient at that point may have something different. So they have to identify what's going on. All this while they're under stress on the range. And then the afternoon, we do the same thing with carbines, which is a lot of fun.
Hell yeah, man. That sounds like a blast.
It's a great class, man. And it gets people thinking. And I'm like, yeah, well, the chances of you using this, unless you're in a high threat job, probably nil, but it's fun, but it's one more reinforcement to the stuff they've learned in day 2. Towards the end of the day, where we do all the hands-on stuff. It's just one more level of reinforcement and really under a lot of stress. You know what I mean? So you got, gunfire, you got brass flying all over the place, blood, guts, spit, and ass, everything like that. So it's one of those things where that's a major pain reference in case you didn't. And that's another thing I do in classes. I always pop out movie quotes and stuff.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
To see if people are listening. But it's one of those things where it's just one more level of stress inoculation, and it's going to help people hopefully perform better under stress should that time choose them.
Yeah, but man, you got to think about it. Like, when you say that, unless they are in a high threat type of situation, they will not use that level, right? But you take away one aspect. Let's take away the guns part of it, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, like law enforcement or military, but yes.
Yeah, but that sounds a lot like Boston Marathon.
Absolutely, 100%, man. And that's what I'm going to say. You take him out of that high threat environment. That's the people in a high threat job. Law enforcement, first responders, whatever. They're more liable to use that. However, this course translates to anybody, because what percentage of average Joes were at the marathon versus first responders, military, law enforcement, all that kind of stuff. Very small percent. So yeah, you're way more liable. Like you said, you can just take out the shooting scenario. That's the reason I don't even in the second day of class, I don't even give any kind of shooting scenario. I'm like, dude, somebody got hit on a bike, knocked their freaking leg off.
Right.
Does that happen? Hell yeah, it happens.
All the time. All
the freaking time. So you're much more liable to see that and have to respond to that kind of situation. Or a terrorist act. Or what if a hot water heater blows up in your house, or a gas furnace blows up in your house, or you're outside drinking a beer, grilling with your buddies, and your freaking gas grill blows up. Shit happens all the freaking time. And
we actually
stress.
My wife Beverly is a big fan of yours, right? And a fan of all training, but big fan of yours. And we have our friends. We live in suburbia, Northern Virginia, yada yada, right? And she posts stuff about that, shares articles that you write, that Greg Elephants writes, that Jim Dexter writes, and they're like, oh, what do you think's going to come? The apocalypse? That's whatever, right?
Yeah.
And this lady had reached out to Bev and said, man, anything I ever said like that, I apologize. I was coming down west on Route 7. Kid on a motorcycle didn't stop when the car stopped in front of him, hit the car, flung in, whatever happened, man. That kid, you could see his arm from his shoulder dangling off, right? Next thing she knows, some dude out of a regular car's over there, and she said, like, putting a belt on him. And Bev was like, yeah, probably a tourniquet. Let's hope it wasn't a belt, but God bless the dude for trying.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, God bless the dude for trying. It was like, no, he was putting something on and blah, blah, blah. And all I could do was drive by. So all I could do was drive by, right? And Bev's like, "Yep, yep."
Yeah.
Now, and the person here that's listening to my show, the person here that's alive and breathing that hasn't seen a severe car crash in their life, right? You have.
Yeah.
You have, man, and you want to feel like a useless piece of shit?
Oh man.
Be the person that drives on by knowing you can't do nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Awesome. All right.
Yeah.
So that is it 3 days, 2 days, 3 days, that class.
The live fire is a 3-day class.
It's a 3-day class. So you do pistols in the morning. I'm going to take that.
Yeah, and we have
spun up on the pistol and rifle, and we're going to take that.
Yeah, and we do that mostly at SIG. Now we do it through Dark Angel Medical, and that's mostly like agency classes or closed classes, like a private class or whatever somebody wants to put together. And we do those, but I do those mostly up at SIG. It's called Bullets and Bandages.
Okay. Yeah.
And I've got 2 of them this year. I think in July, end of July sometime. Yeah, end of July, and again in October. I've got 2 of those this year.
Okay.
We had to cut down because we had so much of the M17, M18 armors classes. It's just been crazy up there. So it's like 130 some odd acres of Disneyland for
where's it? New Hampshire?
Yeah, up in the academies at Epping, New Hampshire.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
yep. Do you know my buddy? And I'm gonna forget his name. Jerry Tutreau.
I do know Jerry. Yeah,
Jerry's a good dude.
Yeah, he's got that freaking drill he's got is with his little Tetro.
Yeah. So he lives here, because secret squirrel playing guy.
Yeah.
Right. Good dude. First time I met him, man, was at a match here at Silver Eagle, man, and he had that little reload net thing he invented.
Yeah.
Like, what the is he going fishing? And then he did one. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And he's always got that little cigar stub.
Yeah, he had the cigar. Dude, he shot the match with that, right? And they're like, hey, man, you can't have that in here. He's like, dude, it's not lit. Right? He's like, we still can't have it. Like, if it was chew, would you let me do it? He's like, yeah, just think of it as chew. It was awesome, dude. It was awesome. Great guy.
Great guy.
So here's the other thing, man, that I think people will be surprised about. Maybe not surprised. Maybe aren't expecting of you. Bro, you can kind of shoot, man. Not kind of shoot. You can shoot.
Thanks, dude.
We were out there at, what was it, the Wednesday before Shooter Symposium, man. It was like, what, me, you, Pressburg, Blowers, and we were doing some stuff, and then we started running through one of Bill's standards, which is, was it 90 or better, 95 or better, 95 or better, 10 yards, 10 rounds, 7 seconds. So he takes the 10 rounds in 10 seconds at 10 yards, and he compresses it down to 7, right? And I did it. It was like awesome. They did awesome. And then you got up, and I wasn't thinking that you couldn't do it. I was like, but I wasn't expecting nothing. Wasn't expecting nothing, dude. And you got up and went, walk, 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 walk. And I was like, what, 625, 630, something like that? I was like, okay. All right, man. Okay. Right? So, and then you looked at me, was like, were you really surprised I could shoot like that? I was like, bro, I wasn't expecting anything. I never had those expectations, dude, because we've all met dudes in the industry that are all that, a bag of fucking rice cakes, and you finally shoot with them, and you're like,
they couldn't hit a bull. They couldn't hit a bull in the balls with a bass fiddle,
Oh, and if they did, it took 30 seconds to do it.
No,
right? And they're pinning and resetting the trigger and blah blah blah.
And that was with iron sights too.
And it was with iron sights, man. It was with iron sights. It definitely was. And even more, it was with a SIG. Anyway.
Just don't drop it.
Exactly. Just don't drop it. If you do, jump on that thing, save the rest of us.
Exactly.
Anyway, no, I'm kidding. I love SIG, man. I love SIG. I'll get a call from Michael Grosso, Bruce Gray. What the fuck are you doing?
Well, and I have to I honestly owe it a lot to my one of my mentors, Scott Kennison, up there at the academy, and Adam Payne Show. He was the former director of the academy.
Okay.
And good buddies of mine, and they really worked with me on my marksmanship fundamentals, and I felt like I was decent, but man, yeah, they taught me a whole lot when I first started working up there. Yeah. I was up there for like a month doing like just immersion training with them, and they really helped me out, and I love to shoot. I've always loved to shoot, but now I love to shoot even more because I feel like I'm a lot better at it, because we don't want to do anything we suck at.
Yeah, and then you had pressure, right? Because had any of those guys seen you shoot before?
No, I
Yeah.
was, dude, I
So there
was
was some pressure
totally,
there,
I was
all
cut-
the
Bob,
instructors and stuff.
fucking Bob Vogel.
Oh, Bob Bogle was there too. I
He
forgot
shot it
about
like
Bob.
he shot it like 394 or some
He's sick,
ridiculous.
dude.
Yeah,
He's
he's not even
not even
human.
not even funny.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, man. So
Little-
so here's the deal. All right, you need to go take a medical class because Kerry can shoot better than you.
I don't know about all that.
Dude, that was impressive, man. Pressure. I mean, because that drills. All of Bill's standards that he throws in his class are spicy. It's not your regular, oh, you can pull a trigger and hit a target. Good for you.
Here's your
They're
ribbon.
spicy. Yeah, here's your ribbon. It's spicy, man.
Yeah.
It's spicy. 10
Yes.
rounds, 95 or better in 7 seconds from a draw. That's spicy. Plus the pressure, of doing it in front of a whole bunch of dudes you kind of know through to interwebs,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
But
Good
that's the
on
way
you, man.
that's the way, and I appreciate it, man. But that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. You should push yourself to do that kind of stuff. And like I said, a lot of parallels between the medical and the shooting side. You should push yourself because hey, you think it's spicy in the class when you're doing a 20-second part time on a tourniquet. Shit's gonna be real spicy whenever your femoral severed or you got a patient with a missing leg. And they're spraying blood
Yeah.
everywhere and screaming and hollering. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to train for that because just like shooting, what happens under stress? What does our accuracy do under stress?
Well, everything starts to
Everything,
deteriorate. Yeah.
everything deteriorates.
Yep.
Same thing's going to happen with a medical, and that's the reason you've got to build those subconscious skills up so
Yep.
you can react without even with and just do it.
Right.
You just go in there and you get done what needs to be done, and then after the fact, you go, holy shit, I can't believe that just happened.
Well, and so here's my theory about, we always talk about stress inoculation, right? But we don't talk about what happens when stress is inoculated, right? And my whole thing, whether it's performance shooting, accurate shooting, physical activities going into the application of medical is stress is being inoculated when tension disappears or doesn't even become part of the equation, right? Like in my
Yeah,
classes, I say, this is what you're doing, with that trigger freeze or you're pushing everything left, flex your entire upper body. And at the same time, do a jumping jack, right? You can't
right,
do it. You can't
right,
do it. So if you have that stress, which causes tension, which causes muscle lockup, you're not applying shit
right.
to anybody until you get used to what's going on and your
That's
body
it.
goes, this is a process. This is just a process. Do the process. you know
Exactly.
so and that's
It's-
why taking your class with the shot timer under the scenario, watching those videos and then lightening it up with humor and then going back to serious business is so awesome.
It's
uh,
it's it's just like taking a shot. Taking a shot is a process of problem solving steps.
yes.
And it's the same thing with taking care of a human being. It's problem solving steps.
Yes.
It's an algorithm. That's all it is.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's awesome stuff. All right, brother. We're coming up about 48 minutes here. So now we get to the favorite part of the show for a lot of people, which is get it off your chest, right? So to preface that, you can talk about it. Yeah, you can talk about anything you want about, the firearms industry, the medical training industry, whatever it is in your background. You can talk about what do people need to start doing to get better? What do they stop needing to get better? Whatever you want to talk about, don't talk about your neighbors. Nobody cares about your neighbors.
Right. Dude, so much I could say on this.
Don't let
Like
it
I,
out, brother. It's
you
my
know,
podcast. You do
well,
what
it's
you
like,
want to do.
it's like I said earlier, I've been nice. I've tried, I feel like I'm a pretty decent dude. I feel like I'm a nice guy and I try to be respectful of people, but at some point in time, it's just so frustrating to see people out there that just, they either, I don't know if they refuse to get it or they just don't get it. And I'm like, dude, get this training. I can't emphasize enough how important this training is. This training, what if something happened to your kid? And that's what I'm kind of like the gloves are going to come off. And I'm like, this is your responsibility as a productive member of our society. Do you want to be an asset or do you want to be a liability? This is your kid. Get the freaking training,
Yeah.
and get a med kit. I don't give a fat rat's ass if it's my med kit, if it's
Mm-hmm.
American Rescue med kit, if it's something I'm from Colorado. They're all about rolling your own here, So if you want to roll your own, dude, roll your own med kit. Knock yourself out, but just put something good in there. Don't buy some bargain basement flea bay bullshit that you see and oh, it's a cat like tourniquet. that's fine, and it may or may not work, and so don't 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 bargain basement shop your life is what I'm saying. I always
Yeah.
ask people, hey, are you going to carry a subpar pistol with subpar ammunition that might work? Or are you going to carry something that's got a very proven track record? That's my big thing is carry stuff that's proven. And oh, it's too expensive. Bitch, please. Seriously? Get off of it, man. I mean, it's like, well, they want, a $420 class. You get a stop the bleed certification. You get skills. You get skills that are going to save your life. Well, I get skills that are going to save my life with a pistol class. All right, hot shot, pump the brakes. Which one are you more liable to use?
Yep.
You're more liable to use medical. And,
Yep.
and people just they don't see the importance. And that's one thing that pisses me off, are people who want to be proponents of medical, but then never carry a medical kit on their person.
Yeah.
I see pictures, I see videos of these and this is something that it's a perpetuation of the bulletproof lifestyle, and we're not fucking bulletproof, dude. People get shot in matches all the freaking time. NDs happen.
Yep.
Okay. It ain't if you're shooting with guns, it's just like riding a motorcycle. It ain't a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Sure.
Something's going to happen. It's a law of averages. Somebody's going to launch a fucking round through their foot, their leg, or somebody else. That is just going to happen. That's the way it works. And if you're not prepared, then you're way behind the power curve. If you don't have a med kit, at least a tourniquet and a pair of gloves on you, dude, you are so freaking wrong. It's not even funny. And I know I'm using some spicy adult language, but I feel it's like I usually don't talk like this on podcasts. But
you're good, man. Let it flow, brother.
But I'm pissed off, man, because it's like you people, the people who don't have a med kit on them, who don't and who've had medical training, they're part of the problem. Yep. Because they're perpetuating that stereotype, that image. Oh, I don't need a med kit because I've got one right over here. Okay, bitch, once you try to run with a hole in your femoral, see how far you're going to get.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things. It's almost like it's willful ignorance. Yeah. If that's a good way of saying it. There's a willful ignorance, and I'm like, there's no sense in being ignorant. If you don't have a med kit on you, then and I can always tell people the best med kit you got is the one on your person. And if it's not on your person, then you're wrong. You need to have a med kit on you. That's the reason, like, I don't advocate for women. I don't advocate off-body carry. If that's all you got, that's all you got. Dance, like my granddad used to say, dance with who brung you. But I'm all about keeping that gun on my person because I want to have positive control over that. That gun could be my lifeline, just like that tourniquet could be my lifeline. If I'm separated from it, then my chances of survival go way down. And so get the training and carry the med kit. If you're going to be a disciple of this stuff, then people have got to get with the program and be a example and not perpetuate the stereotype, what I call is the missing link. Of where medical is not cool, medical is not this, medical is not that, and because I've been beating my head against the wall for like literally a decade with this stuff now, and I think I was one of the first dudes to come out and start talking about how important medical is, because we have got to get more people trained properly, because there's a lot of Me Too stuff out there. There's a lot of folks who have taken classes that maybe with unqualified instructors or people who is not really in their wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And there's still a lot of bad information going out there, and that could be the difference between somebody living or somebody dying. So another thing, vet your instructors. Make sure this is something that people do for a living, not as a hobby.
Right.
Like Jim Dexter, Caleb Causey, Greg Elfritz, Lee Vernon, all these cats, I know them personally, and I can attest to the fact that they are passionate about this shit and they love it, and this is what they do.
Yep. So, it absolutely is, man.
Right.
Absolutely is. That was amazing, dude. So let's make it easier on these on people, right? Because a lot, whether they say it or not, the big deal is like, man, I'm carrying all this stuff, man. I got my OC spray, I've got my gun, I've got my reload, I've got my straight knife, I've got my folder, I've got everything else on my belt, man. Where am I going to put this medical equipment? Can you give them some ideas of how to carry med equipment without interfering with their John Wick loadout?
Yeah, absolutely, man. For average dudes wanting to be the gray man, I've got an ankle kit. There's other ankle kits out there. Mine's not the only ankle kit on the block, but an ankle kit. It's low profile, unless you're wearing skinny jeans or tapered, super tapered pants.
They just stop that.
Yeah, just stop that first
that.
off. But it won't work under that. But because it is bulky, not bulky, but it's bulkier than tapered pants or skinny jeans. Carry something you can carry a dude. The PHLster, the PHLster from
The
John
flat
Howe,
pack.
the
Yeah, the
flat
flat
pack.
pack.
Dude, that thing's the tits, man. It's it's
Yep.
it's freaking. You can carry a soft T wide, a roll of quick clot, and a
Yep.
pressure bandage and a pair of gloves. You can carry it on your belt horizontally. A little or a pocket, one of our pocket mini kits. You can carry that and a tourniquet, a soft T wide, folds down nice and flat. There's no reason, dude. Throw your freaking fire starter, your flint and steel, your sextant, one of the 6 knives that you're carrying, and 4 flashlights, dude. I see all these freaking pocket dumps. I'm like, dude, if you fell in the water, you're gonna drown because you got so much shit in your pockets. And
You ain't lying.
I see zero medical. I'm like, why the hell do you have 4 knives, a multi-tool, a flashlight, 6 pins, a beard comb? Literally, I mean, I'm looking at all this stuff. I'm like, dude, just throw a tourniquet and a pair of gloves in there. That's a force multiplier right there.
Fucking Flintstone and some.
I'm serious. Serious. I got my Cero rod, my ferro rod, whatever. And I'm like, why do you have a compass? Why do you have a compass? If you're in a city, you're pretty good. Just no grids, But you make room because you can make room because there's other things out there. There's pocket kits. There's little small belt kits that don't take up a lot of space. If you're carrying with like a shirt, over your CCW piece and it's bloused out, I've got an EDC kit that's about that big and it weighs 6 ounces.
Yep. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I will tell you the flat pack and my ankle kit has kind of really changed my life.
Yeah.
Not that I, the ankle kit was always on, but for some reason, plus the tourniquet just made it that extra bulky, right? But they can get all that stuff from your shop, right? You got your own ankle kit, you've got your own belt kit, you've got your tourniquet carrier, and all the equipment. Can they buy the actual fillers from the med kit, from the tourniquet to the gauze to the compression to all that stuff at your site as well? Right?
Absolutely, yeah. So one-stop shop, man. Everything we have in our kits, we have as separate components, so people can pick and choose what they want, or they can or they can use a pre-made kit. If anybody does buy a pre-made kit from us, or and if they use it to save somebody's life, it's called Kit for Life Guarantee. You use that kit to save somebody's life, let us know, and you send us back what hasn't been used. We'll inspect everything, make sure it's good, repack everything, including what's been used, free of charge, ship it back to you, good to go.
Hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
I mean, you buy once, you cry once. That's it.
Look at that, man. That's awesome. So, all right. So we just talked about your store and stuff. Where can people find you, man? What do they need to search for?
Go to our website, darkangelmedical.com. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, and we're trying to put out we're working on more video content because that's where it's at. People are learning, and we have online training, free online training to get you spun up on some stuff. It's not a replacement for a class, but it'll help give you an idea of what you need to do with the med kit that you're carrying, and if you're not carrying that stuff, maybe change out some of your kit.
Yep. Hell yeah, brother. Well, I appreciate you being on here, man.
Thank you, brother.
I got to pay the bills because Bev, the CFO, gets mad otherwise. Guys, if you dig all this free milk coming out there, man, do me a favor, like and subscribe. It does help the cause. It helps not only me, but the people that are on the show. Spread the good information out there. Share this with your other friends. It's on. It'll be on YouTube, iTunes, all whatever your podcatcher type of thing is. Look down at some of the sponsors, man. They're all good companies out there. They got the discount codes, man. Train more, and if we can make it a little bit less expensive for you, that's what they really want to do, man. Because ain't nobody getting rich off of discount codes. I'll tell you that. Right. So modernsamuraiproject.com. Find me on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. If you want to come train with me, man, go look at the classes link on the modernsamuraiproject.com. If you can't find a class near you, that's because you're not looking hard enough, man. I'm all over the place, right? Even in less free states like Massachusetts and California and stuff.
Yeah.
It's people like to train, man, just because they got stupid politicians in their state doesn't mean they're not good Americans, right?
Yeah, same with
So,
Colorado, man. Oh, one last thing. Can I say one last
yeah,
thing,
man. Yeah,
listeners?
yep.
Hey, if for you listeners who are listening to this, if you like what you heard, you want to learn more, you can, and you go to our website, you want to buy something, use MSP 15
Oh
MSP
shit.
15. That is a 15% discount code we got set up, and so it's strictly for you guys, and pass the word. The only way you can be able to use it is to listen to this beautiful, handsome man in the NYPD
There
hat.
it is, man. Look at that, dude. They said hold on. I'm so excited about this hat, bro.
That's sick, dude.
That's got Scott on the back,
Oh,
man. Those are
that's
good
legit.
dudes, man. These are guys from the academy.
That's legit. I
Guys
like
from the
that.
academy came to my class, man. Super stoked. Good people up there as well. So yeah, cool guys. So take everything we learned, man. Everything you learned here, man. Here's the thing: if you're gonna train with somebody, man, they need to be passionate about making you better, right? That's the thing I love about Kerry, man. He is just as fired up when you come to your class and get better. Don't be kibitzing and chatting off to the side in his class because he'll smack you down. I saw that shit too. Man. That was awesome. I was like, hell yeah. Shut up. Anyway.
Tactfully assertive.
Yeah, just actually assertive, man. But it's a good time. You guys need to do it to yourself, man. Put down, for that. You're just about to hit the yes, I want the gold tin fluted threaded comped bear. Just hold on for a sec. Hold on. Go take a medical class.
Yeah.
Go take a medical class. And you'll notice, man, Kerry just wants you to get better because he mentioned several of his competitors in the space. He doesn't care. He doesn't care because if he does good things, man, good things will come to him, right?
Absolutely.
So take all that info, guys. Be good. Stay safe. Get training.